Avengers. West Coast Avengers.
There's only one mantra that you all need to know. That's that one over there. See Todd, bye Todd.
Why am I so small? Well, this is a story all about how my life got turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there and tell you how I became the Dave of Avengers. Swoon guy, yeah. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into West Coast Wednesday. Chat and chill. Swoon time. Oh, okay. Sounded like there was something in there. Maybe I won a prize. Good evening, everybody. Nope. It's just swoon. 0 grams of sugar. Okay. Hi, everybody. It is another episode of Bald Salt and Pepper Beard Guy talking to you for a little while we chat and we chill. Not selling tonight. That's going to happen next week, and it'll be a con sale, which is not I'm not a con artist. Let me explain real quick before I say hello. This Saturday up in Bellingham, Washington, which is way further than I should be driving to do a one-day con, is Pacific Nerd West. Their first con. It is what they turned Bellingham Comic Con into. So you'll see if you're in the British Columbia area, upper Northwest Washington area, or you want to take a drive from Seattle or Tacoma or wherever. Mark Russell, Eric Powell, Steve Lieber, Matthew Southworth, a couple other great creators. I'm going to be there selling. I'm making a digging experience. When I do cons, I don't focus on big books. I focus on dollar boxes and $5 boxes and $10 books and that kind of stuff. So lots of digging to be had. And if you're coming up from the Tacoma area or Seattle, let me know. Come say hi. Come see me no. Come see me no. Come see me no. Come see no. All right, let's say hello to some people in the chat. Jim's in here. What's going on, Jim? 24 minutes ago was 24 minutes ago. I can't help you. I'm not in the past. I'm in the present. Maybe even in the future. Hello there, Derek. The Southwest Wrench Chief is in the house. Chem Dog's in the house. What's up, Chem? Cheesier, 2 Daves, 1 thumbnail. What are they hiding? Like I said, all the Turoks. Double the Turoks. Double the trouble. Double the mint. Yeah, that. I can't say it. Rami's in the house. What's going on, my friend? The Pope of the Wrench Chiefs, Tyler's in the house. Hello, Tyler. Yay. Praise be. You get a handful of folks tell you look familiar. You look familiar because you look like me? Listen, yeah, this is the style these days. You know, we wore too many hats and we got too stressed out and our grandfathers were bald, so we ended up this way. You can be respectful or you can be disrespectful to somebody else. Listen, Chem, Turok is a beautiful looking book. And if you have anything to say about Bart Sears' art, I will give you his email address and you can tell him via email. What's up, Chris? Brunson's in the house. Congrats on getting that badass Godzilla TMNT cover. Let me see if I can find a photo of it. Show it off here. Brunson Turtles. I'm like Googling Brunson Turtles Godzilla because my brain just said that first. And look at that. All right, let's see what our good friend, an amazing artist, amazing creator, Raymar Brunson, has cooking for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Godzilla. Look at that. Look at it. Well, that's a blurry version because like let's just look at the Instagram post. How's that? That's great. Okay, let's zoom in up. Look at that. It's dope. I like the pizza guy up here in the corner. Congrats, dude. Turtles Godzilla issue number 3, Raymar Brunson. Variant cover. I did buy a case of Swoon. Big thanks to Mark. Stand Up Dan's in the house. He's a stand-up man. That's Stand Up Dan. Brandon's in the house. Nice to see you, buddy. Mark Russell, yeah, he did Space Age, Dark Age, Flintstones. He did a lot of stuff. He's a nice guy. I've talked to him at con before. Thanks YouTube for not autoplaying when it started. That's weird, James. YouTube's been giving me problems, and I am a YouTuber. I don't get notifications anymore. I have them all on my, all notifications are turned on, and I still don't get them on my phone, like the channels that I want to get the notifications for. And now, from Tacoma, Washington, the one, the only West Coast Avenger. What's up, George? Of course, dude. Of course. I have a small, a small megaphone to shout out creators compared to a lot of other comic book YouTubers, but I do what I can when I can, and with that came, I like talking to comic creators, obviously. And this past weekend, I had Kelley Jones and Matt Wagner on to talk about Dracula Book 3, which is kickstarting right now, currently. It basically went live the same day that Jimmy Jams, Jim of Foods, Arachnid Enforcer went live. And I had them on, and then I had Kelley Jones on the podcast yesterday. Now, look, I'm not going to complain to the people that are in the chat, because the people are in the chat are the people that listen to it. But I'm going to make a statement about the West Coast Avengers channel and the way these interviews perform versus direct edition. I don't like it. Doesn't even, if Todd McFarlane comes back on the channel, he's going on direct edition. I'm no longer going to wake up on Sunday mornings and be frustrated that less than 10% of my audience is watching because it's an interview. So everything is just going to stay on direct edition. I'm recording a very big interview on Monday, and it's one that next Tuesday, that I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm going to say it's the season premiere of season 5. And it's big. And as long as everything goes right, the Silvestri interview is getting recorded in early November. That's going to be the season finale for season 4. So, and I put out a bunch of different feelers this week, and I talked to a couple of people, and there's some stuff in the works that hopefully comes to fruition. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Book 2 came into my possession finally. It was USPS for Dracula Book 2 finally showed up. It had been rerouted from New Jersey. It was being shipped over to Tacoma, Washington. It got rerouted to Alaska. Yeah, that's shit like that makes no sense. It's easier. Random discovery that I think you appreciate. Grab both Lobo's Greatest Hits trade paperbacks at New York Comic Con. Reprints pages from a lot of his guest appearances. Oh, that's interesting. Is it different than they did a Lobo like omnibus that was like the big hits or something, like Big Lobo? Is this completely different? Because I'd actually like to check that out. I read Lobo when I was younger, obviously, just like most of us that grew up in the 90s. Lobo's Back and the the Keith Giffen stuff and the Bisley stuff. But I can't say I've read anything in the last 20 years of Lobo. Pages in there by Bart, Norm Brayfogle, Kevin O'Neill. Oh yeah. Yeah, because that's DC was rocking like those. I like to think of those guys at that time in DC. And those were like the blue chip guys. Bart Sears was flashy when he was on Turok and that kind of stuff. Brayfogle wasn't flashy. He was great. He's my first Batman books were Brayfogle. And Kevin O'Neill is great. But like I don't know too much of his stuff outside of martial law, but I know the name because I'd see it in books. I'm not on Okay. I'm not on Wi-Fi, and yet it just pushed me out of my own stream and is telling me that my Wi-Fi signal's long. I'm literally plugged in, hardwired into my computer right now. My Wi-Fi is not on. So weird. Anyway, the reach on these interviews is ridiculous. Some of the best interviews I've ever seen in comics came from this channel. Why YouTube? Yeah, Tyler, I think it's just because I don't know. Chris Pierce was the one who told me that, like, when he, his the Comics Tropes channel, not After Dark, but the regular channel, when he puts an interview on, it does like 10-15% of his audience watches it. And then, like, he'll put out a video on Marvel Zombies like he did this weekend. And I don't know what the view count's at, but it'll do regular numbers. It's so weird. Yeah, Derek, I mean, I've seen stuff get rerouted, but not to Alaska. I have to check. It's like 150 from 91. Okay, so it's definitely not the same one, because the big Lobo book is probably a 500-page omnibus. Yeah, that was a cool announcement. Jorge Corona with Scotty writing, and I'm sure we'll see some variant covers probably from Scotty, and maybe even some people that we don't know about yet. Yeah, I don't know why it froze. I'm not on Wi-Fi. I don't know. Dude, Brandon, speaking of, I have no clue what happened to that comic. I went to my post office and they checked and they said it was delivered in the parcel locker. And I'm trying to think if, like, I took the package out and I looked under the seats of my car. Send me, when you get a chance, send me a photo of the cover. There is a small chance that I open like 5 packages in one day, put the books in a pile somewhere, and I can't find the pile. Finally picked up Skinbreaker 2 came out today. I did go to my LCS, Stargazer. Shout out Stargazer in Tacoma. Shout out to Damien. I picked up Skinbreaker and Treasury. I picked up the regular one. I picked up 2 copies of the House of Mystery Treasury. I picked up 2 more copies of Spider-Man Noir #1, the Larson variant, Absolute Wonder Woman, and the new Stephanie Phillips Distillery book, Endeavor. And I think I picked up one other book. No, maybe that was it. Derek, after reading certain things today in the news, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens one day. Yeah, I can't wait for Skinbreaker. There he is, the Bishop man. Derek Bishop in the house. How you doing, my brother from a Texas mother? Actually, I don't know if your mom was from Texas or is from Texas. Yeah, Kem, somebody gave that to me like a year and a half ago, and I read it. I really liked it too. More Jorge and Scotty. Yeah, Ain't No Grave I need to read. And I need to catch up on Transformers. It becomes a lot. And I balance between reading some new stuff and then reading stuff that I never read before. Like one of the people I reached out to for an interview, and it'll probably happen towards the end of the year, is Stephanie Phillips. And I've never read her work. I follow her on TikTok, and I love listening to her talk because she does a lot of behind the scenes stuff as a creator. So I picked up the first 2 Grimm trade paperbacks. I read the first one this week. I didn't realize it's up to 5 trades. And I'm reading the Dracula 2 book, and I just reread Mark Miller's Wolverine run, The Enemy of the State run, which I absolutely adore that run. And so, yeah, I try to balance reading stuff that's maybe older that I haven't read with balancing with new stuff. That's right, Bill. Bill McGovern's in the house. Look at this man. He's a Superman. I don't think the new pages were included in Lobo. Okay, that's the one. Okay. All right. I'll track down that trade that you were telling me about. Speaking of Skinbreaker, I got it signed by David Finch. Oh, nice. At I'm assuming at New York Comic Con, Rami, because I think that's the only con he's been at since the first issue came out. I'll bring my treasuries down to Orlando next year. I'm going to get a whole bunch of stuff signed by David at OAX. I'm going to be bringing a lot of stuff to get signed to OAX because I realize I need to take advantage of the fact that it's a great place to get a lot of stuff signed, especially if I'm going to be giving away or selling it on the channel. And if they charge for autographs, I'm more than happy to pay. Drive 2011, the elevator scene is, yes, it is. Yes, Drive's a great movie. Tom Williams in the house. I really like that photo you posted today, the Avengers piece that you did. I really love that Batman piece that I bought from you at Eddie Pecan. So yeah, that I kind of had the same vibe to it. Yes. Derek, the cool thing is I know about it, but I know nothing about it. I figure it's a Western. I think I know it's a Western, but I'm not sure. And I kind of really want to read it because I don't know shit about it. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Finch is great. I have my copy part one of the Enemy Estate. Oh yeah. That's, I love that storyline. I love JRJR, you know? So many cool artists are going OAX. Yes, OAX is it's just going to get more interesting and better because Kazra shares with me a lot of the people that he's aiming to get for certain years because we, you know, I like to suggest stuff to him like, oh, you should invite this person, because pretty much everybody that I interview on this channel, whether it's on the interview or on direct edition, whether it happens in the interview or after, I usually ask them if they were going to OAX or if they know what OAX is. Because I'm trying to like get more people to go, artist wise that I want to see there. Yeah, man, his stuff's not cheap, but it's worth it. He's got a couple of covers that like, if I end up wanting to buy one, there's still a couple of covers available that I want, or I would buy of his. Oh, that's awesome, Raymore. I liked him as a kid. I think I met him when I was like 10, somewhere between 10 and 13. There was a signing on Long Island, and it was him and his dad, and there were a couple other guys there that probably were, residents of Long Island. And he was so nice and at a young age, and I think the Daredevil stuff is really what made me a fan of his, because I think it was that. Oh no, it was Hearts of Darkness. It was the Ghost Rider, Punisher, Wolverine, Hearts of Darkness. That trade, single graphic novel was mind blowing to me as a kid, and it's still mind blowing to me. I remember opening that gatefold cover for the first time. Yeah, Cam. It was a mix. It was those two things. Finch was checking a young artist portfolio and gave him some tips. Yeah, he's like one of the nicest guys in the world. It's the Canadian part in him that's one of the nicest guys in the world. All the black and white drawings for Inktober, I'm doing purely ink. That's awesome. Are you? How big are you doing them? Or are they? They're not. Yeah, they're not digital because you just said they're in ink. Damn, Dave. So yeah, it's a good week for comics. I gotta say, I've been going to Stargazer now for almost 3 years straight, maybe a little more, and I wasn't buying weekly stuff in the first year and a half. I am more excited about New Comic Book Day in the last 6 to 12 months than I have been in the last 6 to 12 years. Most of it's in part of the Absolute line, Batman, Wonder Woman. But, Skinbreaker, the creator-owned stuff, Battle Beast, it's everything but Marvel. Distillery really got me back into wanting to read indie stuff, or at least creator-owned stuff. Yeah, we can consider Distillery indie, especially because they're usually, 3 to 6 issue minis. Oh yeah, it's funny. I don't see too many people posting Inktober stuff this year. But I think a lot of people are just kind of doing it. I think, honestly, if I'm not an artist, if you haven't figured that one out yet, but if I were doing it, instead of holding myself responsible by trying to post it every day, just do it every day. And then when it's over, post it all. This November is the most books I've had pulled in 1 month since I started reading. I just think, I think over the last 6 to 12 months, everything's just getting better, and it's being led by DC. And I just hope that the fatigue doesn't set in with DC as readers and as creators. But I don't see it. Snyder is really... It seems like Scott Snyder's supercharged on doing the stuff that he's doing and like having a plan for Absolute Batman to go. I think he said at least 50 issues or something like 3 years or 4 years. They're on £20. Oh, cool. Oh, that'd be great, Tom. I want one. Speaking of zines, hey, look, I still have volume 2 of the Kirby zines. I'm out of volume 1. I may try and do a small printing of this. Oh, I should talk about why I'm set up for a backdrop today. Some of you that are probably fans of comic podcasts in the last 5 years will know I was on, oh my God. Why did I just forget the name of the podcast? Long Box Heroes? Short Box Heroes? The Long Box? Oh my God. Dollar Bin Bandits. Oh my God. Sorry, been a long day. I recorded with Mike from Dollar Bin Bandits today, and he reached out to me and he wanted to interview me, and I was like, oh yeah, because they were one of the first comic podcasts I listened to when I thought about getting into interviews and when I wanted to start interviewing. And they had a really good Sankiewicz interview from, I want to say 4 years ago, and I really enjoyed it and I liked them, and so I was invited and I recorded with them. I will let you all know when it's going to go live. I'd love to have everybody go through and listen to it. I got asked a lot of stuff that I haven't really been asked or talked about in such a great way too, because Mike and his two buddies that do the podcast have been doing it they're in their 5th year, so they're veterans. And it was really nice to be asked some stuff about what I do in some detail. It was nice to talk about it. So Dollar Bin Bandits, probably be at least 2 weeks, if not a little bit longer. That episode's gonna go. Apparently they're ending the Marvel Ultimate line without Hickman knowing that they were going to do that. I only read the first trade. I like the art. I like the writing. It was too slow for me, especially as a fan of the original Ultimate Spider-Man. The new one was a little too slow for me. I'll probably read it when it wraps up, if there's like an omnibus or whatever. What I like about DC now is they're focusing on creators and supporting other publishers. Yeah, with bringing all those other characters in for DCKO, and they're writing good stories. And you know, Dragotta on Absolute Batman and what's their name? Hayden Sherman on Ultimate Wonder Woman. Two distinctly different styles from each other. Sherman kind of feels more like the old fantasy stuff, like Vess and that kind of stuff. Even a little bit of like Jeff Smith and what's his name? Bone. I'm Cerebus guy. Name's escaping me because I don't talk about that guy often. But anyway, Sherman's art kind of goes in the fantasy stuff, and then Dragotta is clearly bringing a lot of Japanese influence over, which I love to see. Number 48, I think he said that's for... Okay, 40 issues. I don't know. I guess not. Mm-mm. Do comic companies print books in Canada for Canadian buyers and U.S. printers for... No, comic books are not printed in the U.S. in general. I think trades are printed in Japan, and I think all books are printed in Canada. I think. I could be wrong about that. I mean, I'm sure there are printers here, but I think most of the comic books that we consume printed in Canada. Well, maybe you should try. It'll come to you. Come on, Tom. You've been doing this long enough. You know it'll come to you. Daveson, thank you. Yeah. Pope. Well, Pope, I see Pope in a lot of Dragotta too. So I can see that, because Pope is kind of like a blend of a couple of different styles to me, like national, like regional styles, I should say. Yeah. And yes, I see Mobius in Hayden Sherman. That's another one. I only read the first issue of Martian Manhunter. I was going to wait till the first trade came out to digest it all, but I enjoyed the first issue. I felt like that was one of those ones that is going to work better in the trade. Because at first, I feel like there's so much to explore in that story. Maybe I'm wrong, but Sherman has a horror sci-fi book at Dark Horse called The Unbeing, which is phenomenal. I've heard a lot of Sherman's books are really good. People suggested that, and then obviously Dark Patterns. So I'm excited to explore Hayden's bibliography. I've reached out to Hayden via email a couple times, but have not gotten a response. I got to try again. Oh, that's cool. No printers here. Paper's too expensive. Yeah. Well, current administration's trying to fuck every industry in its ass raw. But what's new in the last 9 months? By the way, major shout out to Danny Warren Johnson for being Danny Warren Johnson. If you know, you know. So yeah, that's how many artist editions do I own? Somewhere between 6 and 8. I don't own a lot because for 2 reasons. Space is the only thing that is not a factor because most of them are in this closet right in front of me. It's because I will buy them all and then it becomes a problem. And then I would rather spend way more money like a very irresponsible person and just buy an original page from that person. Yes, I did see that. I don't remember who posted it on Instagram or it was on Reddit. I think it was on Reddit, but somebody posted a photo that had Dan's image on a sign at No King's March. Hell yeah. Pre-ordered the new THB, hands down one of the worst cover designs I've ever seen. Can't believe Pope signed off on that. I haven't seen it, Tom, but every once in a while somebody makes a really bad decision on design that is not somebody that would make a bad decision on design. Yeah, fuck that piece of shit. You want to talk about somebody who A, thinks he's way more important than he is, and also B, is 142% wrong about everything that he said and put out there. Chuck Dixon is a hack, just like his buddy Graham Nolan, just like Ethan Van Sciver. The reason why they don't have careers anymore is because they don't deserve them. Oh well, and you're a bootlicking fascist. You get what you deserve. I mean, look, it's funny. I am on TikTok because I post all of the reels, that I create or created for the podcast. I post that stuff on TikTok, and I came across some clip from I forget, it's a big podcast that was like, which do you think any version of Batman would have voted for the orange asshole? And like, they try to make a case for Christopher Nolan's Batman. I'm like, wouldn't happen. It would not happen. He may be a billionaire, but he doesn't support fascists. Dude, some people are really losing their minds. But, if you look, Graham Nolan was the first artist. He was the interior on Vengeance of Bane, I think. And he's got a podcast that I watched once or twice. And like, it's kind of normal, but as soon as anything kind of comes into it that could be construed as socio-political, you can tell they go as far right as they possibly can. And I'm like, I can't support this shit. I mean, look, I'm nobody, but there are just certain things. It's just like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you can look. Politics isn't even what we're talking anymore because fascism is away from politics. That's about keeping control over people in a way that they lose all their rights. And but I yell about this all the time. Like, all these comic characters were created from people that were escaping fascism or had just escaped fascism. Bill Finger, Bob Kane, Joe Shuster, Jerry Siegel. Kirby didn't need to escape it. He went to fucking fight it. He was an American hero. I believe Joe Simon was also a soldier too. There's some other names. Wally Wood, right? Wally Wood was in World War II. It's just like, you can't take a symbol. You can't take something and just, I don't know, co-opt it, whatever it is. Well, but Dean, the good thing is, look at Kelley Jones, because like they created Bane, although Glenn Fabry's the first, he's the face cover, that first cover of Bane. But the Kelley Jones interview, I mean, like, you can tell Kelley's not that. And Kelley really shaped Bane. And by all intents and purposes, Kelley Jones and Sam Keith really popularized Bane for comics because, and I don't know how old you are, Dean, but anybody who's my age, let me know in the comments if this is your experience with Bane. I never even knew that Vengeance of Bane, that book existed. To me, the first time I saw Bane was on whatever the first Batman cover he was on. I never even knew that Vengeance of Bane existed. I'm pretty sure that book was like, in comparison, was a low print run. And that book I didn't know existed until years and years later. So to me, Sam Keith and Kelley Jones, more Kelley than anybody, really shaped Bane. Well, yeah, a bazillion abs. But like, you know, and then the interior artists for those books, I can't even really say that I love them. And then, you know what? Like, Tom Hardy really made Bane awesome too. You feel in charge? I've got him reckoning. Anyway, Wally was U.S. Navy. Okay. 6, 7. Yeah, I don't know what that is either. I'm 45. You have children, so you might. All right, Dean, you're 38. So yeah, so I'm a little bit older than you, but buying that stuff when it came out, like Vengeance of Bane was nowhere. It was not at my LCS, and like I just don't remember anybody even selling it too, like even at comic shows. Kelley, yes. Dixon and Nolan were on Detective while Doug Munch and Kelley were on Batman. Insane contrast. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Doug Munch or Mensch is great. And his work with Kelley is the reason why I love Kelley and discovered Kelley. Those Batman and Dracula books were my Bibles, my Batman Bibles as a late teen when my buddy gave them to me. I knew about it because a wizard around the time Nightfall was starting. Sure, maybe it was reported, but I'm telling you, Daryl, that book, Vengeance of Bane, and the second one were not in stores. Like, you never saw them. Yeah. Like, I was astonished to learn that was Bane's first appearance years later. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, and it does have, I'm pretty sure Vengeance of Bane did have newsstand distribution because I'm pretty sure I've had a newsstand copy of that book, but maybe not. It's that book was a blind spot in my life and my collecting and reading and stuff. But I will say, for what it's worth, I reread the early Bane stuff, Vengeance, and then there was another miniseries. They're good because they give context, but I'll say this on top of that. Scott Snyder's reimagining of Bane, his origin in the Absolute Batman 11, I think it was, is I would put it in the top 3 comic books of the year, maybe even the top 3 comic books of the last 5 years. That single issue. I had the Nightfall novelizations as a child. Oh my God, that's right. They did make a novelization. Every once in a while at a garage sale or in a collection, I'll come across that book and I'm like, novelizations of comics, not my thing. I don't know if anybody, was it any good, Bill? Bane was kind of first manufactured Batman villain. Yeah, well, I mean, technically, I forgot he was in Batman and Robin. That's right. I mean, technically, he is manufactured in a way too, like with the Venom. But it was cool that they set that up with Venom in Tales of the Dark Knight, which I forget who wrote that storyline. Same with Sword of Azrael. They did collect it pretty quickly, but never saw. Yeah, that's right. And it's funny that that trade's out of print now. Can change the storyline with your first Batman crossover. I don't think I remember that one, or maybe I do. Maybe I just don't remember it by the name. I was influenced by artists like Silvestri and Travis Charest, but always had an appreciation for wild art from Keith, Bisley, and now folks like Scotty. Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of comics, right? Like the art styles, there's so many different art styles that can influence people that you can point to, that you can talk about and converse about. What's up, James? James is in the house. James Easterly. Thanks, Chuck. Sword of Azrael is really underrated. Quesada by Kevin Nolan. I don't know if I don't remember the stories being good, but I do like the art. Azrael was a badass design. Still is. What Snyder did with Bane, I like way better than the original run. 100%, Tom. 100%. Maybe I was about 9 years old. I read, my parents and aunt wanted me to read more, so they bought me the novelizations. Oh, that Venom one's got a dope cover. I just came across one of those recently. Sick cover, painted by... I don't know if it's Ken Stacy, but it's got a good vibe to it. Get some swoon. Which is there for the swoon by Menon. Shout out to my buddy Dave Correa. Dave was here the last couple days. The Dave Vengers were together, united as one Dave. So it was nice hanging out with him. And once again, just for the people that are in here, if you're in Northwest Washington, pretty much the last town of Washington before the border into the Great White North, I will be tabling this Saturday at Pacific Nerd West. We'll see how it goes. Not really looking forward to driving up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but the Dave's got a Dave the way the Dave's got a Dave. Simon's in the house, and yes, swoon. Come to Canada. It's better. Eh? Greg Rucka did a lot of novelizations. Oh, he did a novelization of No Man's Land. Yeah, Rucka's a writer. Like, he's written books. Obviously a novelization, but also he's, Stumptown was a great book. I read that. Loved it. Who has 2 thumbs and just won his first Barry Windsor Smith page? Holy shit, Joe. Tell me more. Was it on the regular Wednesday Heritage Sale? Congratulations, dude. Me neither, and it's soon for here. What's what was that in reference to? Because Jensen, I don't know. I just bought a yes, yeah, totally. Oh, hell yeah. Congratulations, Joe. I just got my first Valiant page. It's being shipped to me. I will be showing it off on the next non-sale live stream. Oh shit. Jensen, it's 4 o'clock there. You're in Europe, I'm assuming, or you're in the UK, right? That would make more sense. Yeah, my next interview, which happens on Tuesday, which I won't say who it is yet, but the person is not in this country, and I have to do it at 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I was going to look at Heritage today, but I bought that first Valiant page, which is coming soon. I also just bought a painting from Sean Crystal, and I have the Japan trip coming up. So, well, come on. Isn't that one obvious? Yeah, I'll show that one off when I get it. Japan is not for another 3.5 weeks. Oh my God, it's 3.5 weeks. I have so much to get done before then. But here's the good news. But I just to get my son to the train. Oh, you're in Austria. Well, hello from Austria. Yeah, we leave on the 18th. Yeah, I'd love to have a BWS page, but unless you're sniping everything that you can find that comes out there, it's tough. It's not a lot of work out there. You'll see it when I get it, Tom. Bisley, no, it's not. I tried to get Bisley. I tried to get Bisley, but hasn't happened yet. November trip into Brokember. I mean, for me, December actually means I don't celebrate holidays, and nobody in my family does gifts, so it's y'all are gonna be Brokember, because when I bring the stuff back from Japan, it's sale time. Yes, I come back mid-December. So basically the plan is for content going forward, I've got the next 4 weeks of videos edited already. The season finale for Direct Edition is going to be the second Monday in November, and then I'm going to break for 3 weeks and we'll come back. So, but you'll be seeing me, you're going to be seeing a lot of me on YouTube, probably on Sean's channel, on my channel. You'll see us with Jimmy Jams and Dave Crossland. I'm probably going to do a video. I'm going to convince Jimmy Jams to do a live video on his channel from Japan too, so everybody can kind of subscribe over there. Dude, I've emailed Eastman via his website no less than 10 times and have never gotten a single reply. I'm going to have to reach out via probably Stan Sakai. Let's see. What did Jensen say? Been once in Japan, but only for a day after disembarking a ship. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Cause there's, I don't know if you're a sailor or if you're cargo, whatever it is, but yeah, that's a lot. I have friends that have said the same thing. Like I was there for a day, or, people in the military that were only on base that really didn't get to leave. I think Tyler was in Japan on base. It's such a lovely place. Although they just voted a right-wing prime minister, which is not a good thing. So the Barry Windsor Smith Marvel Comics present. Yeah. That's actually kind of cheap. I think it should be more. I can't wrap my brain around the fact that you'll be able to watch Mahfoud sketch live for roughly the whole trip. Yeah, that'll be fun. I told him about 3 coffee shops that are within a 20-minute walk of Koenji, that are very quiet and great places to drink coffee and sketch. Well, I probably read or work on my computer. Seems like people catch him in a good mood at the table sometimes while he's signing. I mean, Kevin Eastman seems like oh, you mean Bisley. Bisley's always nice at conventions. Always nice. I've talked to him and he's always friendly. I just don't know if he really likes doing the whole interview thing, especially over the internet. I really don't think it's his preference. We need a Gangster Boogie cosplay in Japan. That'd be amazing. That would be amazing if somebody came to Tokyo Comic Con as Gangster Boogie in cosplay. Bisley would be sick. He did one very recently for the 2000 AD YouTube channel. I'll say this, and I've been to Scotland. I understand when Scottish people talk, but Bisley obviously is not Scottish. It is very tough to understand what he says. To me. Tyler was in Okinawa. Didn't get to explore a whole lot. Hated most of my time there for the military. Yeah. Would kill to go. Well, Tyler. Uppercut. Just go. Just put it on the credit card. Who gives a shit anymore? Who gives a shit anymore? Don't pay your taxes and just put it on your credit card. Bisley was awesome. Yeah. He's always a nice guy. Do I have a biz story? No, I don't have a biz story. Speaking of Japan, there's my homie DJ Five Duck Cringe Musume podcast with Felipe Smith. Yeah, I'll you know what the problem is like, if I was 10 years younger than I am now, it wouldn't even be something that I would request, or you could request. Or 15 years younger, I would just be drunk in Japan. I don't want to be a nuisance. I want them to tell me to stay. I want them to say, we love you so much, Gaijin. Even though you're not one of us, stay. And I'll be like, arigatou gozaimasu. Credit ain't real, never needs to be paid back. There you go, Tyler. Fuck it. I mean, Manga Quest 2025 is only going to give way to Manga Quest 2026. How about this? Yeah, you make the video out of me. I'll be the nuisance, and then it'll kind of work in a circular thing. Those people will visit my channel and subscribe. They'll see my interview with Felipe. Then they'll watch the nuisance episode again. It's a symbiotic relationship. Synergy. Being a nuisance is overrated. I mean, I could easily be a nuisance by just using my mouth without being drunk. Can always be the loudest person in any place. But it's really interesting when you go to Japan. It's really interesting going to Japan because for me, and I know this isn't for everybody, but for me, it's very easy to assimilate to the quiet and be very much respectful and not be loud and not use my outside voice. I fit right in. It was very relaxing to be quiet for 3 weeks straight, or not be me times 10. Scots are for the most part easy to understand, but I've been on some Irish vessels where I needed to a translator. Some dialect on that isle is not English. Yeah. I think the hardest part, the first time I went to Scotland, the hardest part was for me was understanding it when people introduce themselves, and if their name was something that wasn't, like, okay, I met this dude named Darren in the first time I was in Scotland, and we hung out for a couple days. Like, he actually rode with me around to the Highlands while we were with my friend's band. And he introduced himself and he said, "Hi, my name's Dad." And I'm like, "Dan?" He's like, "No, Dad." And I'm like, "Dan?" He's like, "No, Darren." I'm like, "Oh, it's Darren." That was like hard to understand. Being the loudest person in any place is a New Yorker specialty. 100% true. Ever heard of a Newfie talk? Newfoundland? No, because I've never been to Newfoundland. Yeah, I've never been to Newfoundland. I've only been British Columbia and Ontario. I've not been to the other provinces, and I'd love to go to Newfoundland because I've heard it's awesome up there. But I'd love to know what that accent sounds like. Nothing like a Wednesday with a freshly balding Dave. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you should have seen me yesterday. Should have seen me yesterday. I look like I've been on a 10-day bender because I hadn't shaved my head or my face in like 2 weeks or a week and a half. Yeah, New Yorkers were always loud because, I don't think it's a consequence of any perceived rudeness, but New York is a loud place, and you have to be loud in New York. Otherwise, nobody's going to listen to you. Plus, as I shared today with Mike at Dollar Bin Bandits, I always talk. Like, I talk. And that's obviously what I do as my job now, but I talk. And I always was a talker. Scottish accent in cities is one thing, but rural Scots. Derek, I've been to some of the farthest places geographically you could go in Scotland, even some of the islands. And they actually talk a little bit slower. It's kind of like the idea of a country, kind of like an American Southern or country accent. It's like they just talk a little bit slower because the way of life is a little bit slower. But yeah, some of the port or ferry towns in the islands, yeah, it's like you're in a fucking movie in every way, shape, or form. Like, it's picturesque, but the people are like, were you created for this town? Like, are you a character? Hey, I'm walking here, which obviously is a fun stereotype that doesn't actually exist, because if it did, it would just be like, fuck you. That's it. Subway is loud. Neighbors are loud. Music is loud. And also, Bill, as a business owner and a former drinker, bars and restaurants are loud. When you go to fucking Japan, holy shit, it's like the most pleasant dining experience. And I was telling Dave yesterday, we were talking about Japan, and I was just saying, like, there were a couple restaurants I went into where I was either early or it was just a slow night and I was the only person in there. And almost every person that I met in Japan, whether it was in a coffee shop or a small kind of independently owned restaurant, talked to me. And, obviously we communicated the best we could. I don't really know much Japanese, so I have to depend on them knowing just a tiny bit of English, but enough. And then, plus you got this, and I can show people photos and just be like, oh, I'm doing this. Greatest thing I heard in Scotland, I put you on your arse, you bum. Hey, I'm texting over here. I saw classic New York City interaction between a cabbie and a girl jaywalking. I was in a cab once. It was towards the end of me living there. So it was probably around 2012, 2013. I was going somewhere uptown back to my office. And the cabbie was I think he was Native American. And it was a really bad traffic jam. And there was a bicyclist trying to get in between the cars, and he starts yelling at the cabbie, and he called the cabbie the N-word. And I was just like, oh boy, this is about to get really nasty. And the dude's like, he said something like, you fucking idiot. I'm Native American, you dumb motherfucker. Like, the guy didn't even, like, he just bypassed the racism to tell him that he had the wrong race. And that was like the most New York cab experience I could have ever had. And it was, it was only like 10, 12 years ago. For me, everything is loud. But then again, I grew up in a coastal village in Norway, and I think we had around 15 houses. Oh, damn, Jensen, that's awesome. I want that experience is, obviously I don't mean it in the geographical sense. That experience is just so foreign to me, growing up in just a small town, village, whatever. But I visited a lot of those kinds of towns in Scotland, and it's so charming to me. But yeah, I can imagine the juxtaposition between those, anything else like a city, like versus a small village has got to be loud. How do you pick up and choose what goes on the wall during these things? Tyler, for general, like today's podcast, for that kind of general thing, I just kind of pick things that I like, or things that are like kind of speaking to me now, or my favorite things, like Skinbreaker, obviously a recent favorite, but Ed, I always try to have one of Eddie's books up. The Alien Standee is a Rights in Peace, and that's a new edition. And the hardcover, I've just been waiting to read it because I picked these up. Thamna is another one of those things that's like favorite. The Vault of Horror is real. Obviously, want to always promote Jack Kirby zine. And then obviously the Todd stuff. And then over here, you're always going to have Turok, and the Jar Jar with the trans flag's always up on the top shelf anyway. So I moved some of the stuff down, but I put my Turtles one up there. And yeah, I just try to mix it up. I've been there too. Edinburgh is a beautiful city, and I would not only move there in a heartbeat, but if I was going to pick a place to open up a comic store, it would be there. Honest question, Dave. Is there a huge language barrier for visitor to Japan? Nope, not really. Not anymore. From what everybody says, it's been like that for a while. Tokyo, and I have only been to Tokyo, but I know Osaka is very much similar. Everything sign-wise that you need to see is in English and Japanese. Almost, if not every single restaurant has an English menu. People don't really talk to each other too much in public as it is, so like you're really not worried. Mandarake, it seems like every Mandarake understands a little bit of English, but they have at least one person on staff that speaks English. But no, I didn't have any problems at all. That's a Jeff Darrow. That's a Jeff Darrow. And then that's Daniel Warren Johnson. North Iceland is something that, in regard with neighboring houses being kilometer away from each other. Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, Iceland's one of those places I've had plenty of friends have been to. And next time I go to Scotland, I'm going to do a layover in Iceland. But yeah, I've heard that it's like that. I'm sure Finland, parts of Finland, Sweden, Norway, I'm sure a lot of that is like that. Yes, it is. Basically an expression wall that changes with Dave, yeah. And then Tyler, when I'm having a guest on, obviously if they have enough work that I could fill the wall up, I do that. But, some people notice, I mean, when I'm doing interviews, some people notice what's up there. And then some people, when I point it out, they're like, oh yeah, look, that's there. Google Translate will help in a pinch when in Japan. Yes, yeah. I didn't use it too much, but I used it when I was in Mandarake and when I was book hunting. I was using the Google Glass to see if I could figure out, like, just to get a title or an artist on a book. Everyone in Okinawa is pretty good with English. Some more broken than others. I mean, obviously, though, a heavy percentage of the world speaks English as their native language. Not just the US, but US, Canada, the UK, so on and so forth. But the other thing is, I realized this when I started meeting foreigners, when I used to travel a lot, when I started traveling a lot. It's all of the music that's popular in the world in a major way, and all of the movies that are popular, and all of the TV shows that are hugely popular are in English. Obviously, with the exception of a lot of the Japanese culture, for the rest of the world, Batman, Spider-Man, Star Wars, these are all English things that have made billions of dollars around the world. So it helps that our entertainment industry is the biggest one. May not be the best, but it's the biggest. I don't know. Sometimes I think the UK music scene is in large better than the American music scene throughout history. I mean, they do have those bands, the Beatles and the Stones and, the Blurs and Oasis. But anyway, yeah, most of the gist of what you get. Yeah. Hello, Leo. Good evening, my friend. Probably won't be on too much longer. But hello there, James. Hello there. When I was in the Navy back in 95, I went to a bunch of the Baltic states. Travel. Yes, it just opens you up to the rest of the world and cultures and understanding what other people are like and not. The biggest thing to me is that the rest of the world isn't as shitty as Americans are. The metal scene in Australia is unmatched. Really, I don't think I could name a single metal band in Australia that besides AC/DC is Australian, right? Or are they British? See? No, Angus Young. Yeah, no, they're Australian. The one heavy band that I used to love from Australia, I don't know if they still exist, is Violent Soho. Punk music in large comes from the UK and, in New York, but I don't know. My favorite music comes from the state I live in, but that's not representative of the entire country. And then I grew up in Long Island, so you get the Long Island music scene, you get the hardcore, the New York hardcore scene, Long Island hardcore, and then the emo scene. So, I love, you all know, I love talking about music history, especially when it comes from regions and stuff like that. Yeah, there you go. Just started a great psych band from Australia called The Orb. Yeah, I've never heard of them, but I would try them. I would argue that Finland and Norway is a great match. Okay. I want to visit that part of the world. That's probably, besides New Zealand, I think the Sweden, Finland, Norway, Denmark, like that area of the world is somewhere I'd probably really like, especially because I like the Northwest and I love Scotland and I love kind of climates that are a little bit colder and wetter. Hello, Jamie. Good evening. Bellacore, I think that's how you say it, Bellacore or Bellacore. It's a great Aussie metal band that made it internationally. Okay, never heard of them. Yes, I believe In Excess was Australian. New Zealand I know a lot more about because I'm Liam Finn, who's the son of Neil Finn and Tim Finn's nephew, who the Crowded House, and so I know a lot about the Kiwis and their music. Oh, Courtney Barnett's from Australia. I love her. Speaking of music, happy birthday to the first live performance, Mookie Blaylock. That's right. Pearl Jam's first live performance was 35 years ago? Is it 36 years ago at the Off-Ramp in Seattle, which is now El Corazon, which is one of my least favorite venues because it's so goddamn hot. But it does serve for the kind of bands that play there. I mean, I've seen a bunch of shows there, including, God, it's got to be about 7 years ago, Touche Amore and Turnstile. God, it was crazy for that show. Maybe it was probably about 6 years ago. Working on getting some more music guests for the podcast. I have a couple of feelers out and direct to the person themselves. Hopefully that pans out because I still really want to get other kinds of artists. I might even reach out to, there's a muralist in Seattle who I find her art really awesome. I might reach out to her to get on the podcast, change it up a little bit, because I think we should be championing all kinds of art. And we all love comics, but that doesn't mean we all love art too. There's a couple of I'm going to be down in LA pretty soon. It was a trip that I planned before Japan. And if you're going to be at the Revenge of Comics Fair, or I forget what it's called, or the Silver Lake Comics whatever event the same day, and you see me, say hi. Chris, Jim is going to be at Tokyo Comic Con. I have tried I've never gotten a reply from DC's publicity about it, but I will try in person to talk to him and get him to agree to an interview. I think sometimes, a lot of times, when I'm pitching interviews in person, it works out a lot better. Hello, Dylan Magoy of Alasso. Good evening. Did I say that right? Dave, tell the truth. Were you the Louvre looking at comics the other day and picked up some jewels instead? I was actually looking at the Mona Lisa. No, I am not the culprit of the 4 or 3 people that performed the heist at the Louvre. How did they fucking pull that shit off? That's insane. I am the mastermind of the heist at the Louvre. That's what we were talking about. And music scenes around the world. Mark Jewelers in the Louvre. Exactly. James, I was looking for that. I was looking for Mark Jewelers, and I saw there was like a little, one of those little cards on the thing, and it was like, these jewels belong to King Mark. And I was like, oh shit, these are the Mark Jewelers. And well, here we are. I'm back in Washington with my Mark Jewelers. Legend has it Dave dropped the crown on purpose because it didn't fit the dome. You know what they say? If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. If the crown don't fit, throw it on the ground. Yeah, right? Killer Mike and LP, they might have been the culprit. Hello there, Samuel. Sam McClurg in the house. Sam's got a Kickstarter going on right now. White Line Deadline. Sam, if you want to post the link in the chat, please feel free to, or if Derek wants to post it. Sort of. Okay. Magoi. What if I say it like an Italian? Dylan Magoi of Thalasso. Hey. Gotta go spend some time with the wife. Jim, tell your wife I said hi and enjoy your time with her. I've never met your wife and I don't know her. Have a great night. November 19th, Batman and Deadpool comic. There's Jim Lee cover with Batman and Wolverine. That's cool. I mean, that's the one that Grant Morrison wrote and Dan Moore is doing the art. I am excited for that, but I won't be here to own it until I get back. There we go. White Line, Deadline. I used to do white lines and now I'm sober, but that's not what that Kickstarter is about. Kids, don't do drugs. Unless you're just experimenting, then it's fine. And if there's any kids watching this, don't listen to your Uncle Dave. He's drinking swoon. All right, only $110 to go to meet that goal. Support White Line Deadline, support Sam. If you don't, Sam's going to move to Bulgaria and become a monk. So Sam, where were you stationed? We were talking before about overseas, and Tyler was talking about being stationed in Okinawa, and Jensen's on a boat. We were just talking about that. You're close. Magoi and Thalasso come from European Greek to be accurate. And you know what, Dylan? I can tell if I heard a Greek accent. For the life of me, I couldn't even pretend to do a Greek accent. Welcome to Dave TV. 29 Palms. I don't know what that is. Is that a restaurant? Oh, it's a city in California. You're like, I was the maitre d'. Maybe Sam's next book will be Uncle Davey's White Line Circus Trip. Look, I talk about my alcoholic and alcohol abuse and my drug abuse on the podcast because it's part of who I am, and I can laugh about a lot of it because I'm still here, but I don't want anybody to really have any problems. Yeah. All right. Well, apparently, what's interesting, and let me ask you guys here who are military service members or something similar. Are there a lot of people that you were stationed with that were comic fans? Like, is that a common thing? I mean, I know it was in the 60s, and it was very much in the 60s and 70s that a lot of service members were huge comic readers and fans because you could get them. But as we get into, Tyler and Sam are different, obviously not old guys. You have phones, you have computers, whatever it is. But was there still a lot of comic readers in the military? It's just something I'm curious about, because between a couple people in this community, Nick, Tyler, Sam, there's some others that I'm forgetting who were service members. It just seems a very common thing. Like, if we were to poll 100 people on my channel or in the Wednesday sales, how many people were service members in the military and stuff, you probably get at least 10%. At least 10%. And Kem was also. So, which is pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of other than it's interesting. You guys all know how I feel about war. You guys all feel the same way about it. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Sing it again. Magician, Thalasso, Ocean. Okay, I would have imagined that Magoi or Magoi is magician. I would not have known the ocean part. Used to be 29 plums till 27 of them spontaneously combusted. Hell is an actual place in Norway with an airport even. It's really funny? The funniest airport call letters in this state is the Fresno Yosemite terminal, which is known as FAT. And why do some mariners apparently have strong opinions about Kirby and versus Mobius? No, it wasn't Roll Tide. It was Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide. Roll Tide as if you're an Alabama fan. Of course, March of next year, I've been out of the service for 30 years. Well, I mean, you were in the service. Yes, that makes sense. I was the only one that was into comics. Most of the guys I knew were into League of Legends. Right, which makes sense because you're talking about the era of video games versus, any time before the early 2000s, there wasn't video games readily available for everybody to bring with them or have on their phone or whatever. Sioux City's airport sucks. Oh, that's right. Oh, shit. Warhammer makes sense. Yeah, I wonder if you were to roll that back, Sam, like 30 years, like in the late 70s, early 80s, like how many of those service members were playing D&D while stationed somewhere? There were a small few of the guys I knew into the Marines that like comics. The vast majority are obsessed with anime, though. It's interesting. Like, I don't know if this gets talked about a lot in the service, but what you two guys are telling me is that a lot of nerds in the military, which kind of makes me hopeful these days, if there are still nerds, because nerds generally are, a little bit emotionally available, or I don't know, emotionally intelligent. I don't know. We had a D&D guy in my platoon and a Magic the Gathering guy. Well, Magic's another one that's like super easy to just have in your, have on you and travel with and have shipped to you and stuff like that. In Australia, there's a village named Fucking, that is. It was renamed thanks to tourists doing things in front of the city sign and was stealing it. Holy shit. Oh, man. Loaded with nerds. Oslo. I've never been to Oslo. I'd love to go. There's a lot of really nice comic shops in Europe in general that I'd love to visit. Same as Eastern Canada. I recently got a huge stack of comics. Aquaman 1 to 10, John Timms? Batman 1 and 2, Zatanna, Bring Down the House, Transformers. Nice. Several D&D guys on your ship. Yeah, and if you've been out of the service for 30 years, like, yeah, you're prime for people still really being into D&D before there was kind of like a lull and then it came back. Have a son-in-law in the Navy, lots of movie watching and Magic cards when he deployed. Yeah, that makes sense. Because Magic is huge these days and has been now for nearly 40 years, 35 or whatever. So Derek, were you in the military? We need to know about Derek. Tell us about your life. So yes, next week, this weekend, video. What am I doing? I've got some collection videos coming out because I bought the underground one. I bought the one with the low grade fun stuff. And then I bought one 2 days ago. I bought a collection 2 days ago. Stuff from 2015 on, but some really cool surprises in there. Including a sketch cover that I thought might not have been an original sketch. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, oh no, that's a sketch. For frame of reference, on 29 Palms, it's right outside Joshua Tree. I actually ran into Dave Grohl and Paul McCartney at a bar out there, which also makes sense because Sonic Ranch is out there. What's the one called that they used to do desert sessions at? That Josh has recorded a lot of the stuff out there, and that's also where they recorded with Joe Walsh. They recorded one song on Sonic Highways out there. Was not plenty of friends and family though. I'm a military nerd from the outside. Okay. Oh, that's cool. So you're War Games, Derek Neiman. The ship I served on was sold to the Polish Navy back in 2000. I wonder how much they sold it for, and can I buy it, or is it decommissioned? Yeah, the only military service member in my family was my uncle, my dad's brother, and he served at Vietnam. But that's it for my family. Watching Thunderbolts and Lightfoot, director Michael Cimino was also director uplifting. Yeah, The Deer Hunter. I never saw Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. I know about that movie, but damn, yeah, The Deer Hunter is not a happy movie. But that's also like about, the horrors of war. Cause right. Wasn't that about, it was kind of PTSD-ish in there too. But no, that was a Vietnam movie. I saw it once. It was one of those movies that I'm like, I understand why this is a classic. I thought it was excellent. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. Same as, well, I'm not a Brando fan, so I didn't love Apocalypse Now. I should probably watch it again because I just never liked Brando. But I recognize how much that movie's amazing. Coppola was a god. And I do love Martin Sheen in that movie too. And Hopper. Here's an idea. Dave starting a comic shop on a decommissioned aircraft carrier. He could sail and do comic cruises. Showers required. Where would I source? Derek, I'd literally have to buy an entire warehouse worth of comics and then transfer it to a ship. I would. Okay, guys, we're gonna port somewhere in England, and I'm gonna go to comic shops and get more comics. Famous song from that movie dropped, "Kick Jesus Through the Goalposts of Life," written by Bobby Bear, which my dad went to grade school. I do not know that at all. It was a bar called Pappy and Harriet's. It's like one of the biggest, it's the biggest and most well-known venue in the Palm Desert, but it's legendary around the country. I would still love to go to a show there before I die. I was in the Coastal Artillery in 97, 98, so busy sinking ships while pretending to. Okay. I'm more of a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. However, I haven't been playing or collecting for some years now. It just got too difficult, and card effects are just as long as books now. Plus, I guess the collector's market kind of ruins stuff like that. But I don't know. I never really got into TCG. But I just I can't imagine being loving to play these TCGs and then having to pay so much money to get the rare cards. I watched the Godfather movie in cinema when it was 50-year anniversary. Look, I think The Godfather and The Godfather 2, they're classics. And maybe that's the only Brando I like, but I'll never be a Brando fan. It would. Yeah, let's do it. Cruise ship comics. Or battleship comics. That's what I would call it. The comic ship. Right, instead of calling it a comic shop, it's the comic ship. Davy's army of Steve Doors will load the warehouse of comics onto the aircraft. Could you imagine that? on a nice summer day, like what's the Intrepid's the one in New York? On a nice summer day, like doing a comic convention out there. Omar coming. I mean, not Omar. Wait, Omar? What was Michael? Oh, Christ. I lost it. You're talking to Tyler. Brando was great in the Wild One on the waterfront. I just don't like Marlon Brando, old Marlon Brando. There we go. See? Yeah. See? Yeah, it can get expensive, but I've never been a fan of chasing the chase cards. Ah, so you don't take the bait. No chase for Dylan. Omar. Oh, it is Omar. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, The Wire is a classic. I've watched The Wire, I think, twice in its entirety, maybe 3 times. I feel like it's maybe time for another rewatch after I finish currently in the middle of rewatching Stranger Things, but I'm almost finished with season 4. I just started watching Detroiters, which I never watched before because I watched the first episode of The Chair Company. Tim Robinson's amazing. I got to watch the second episode and then finish Detroiters. James Stewart. Jimmy Stewart's a great actor. Classic Jimmy Stewart. What was the Kubrick movie he did? Was it no, that's not Jimmy Stewart. That's Peter Sellers. Anyway, I don't know. Best part of picking you guys are talking military shit. I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, I'll be here this weekend, Pacific Northwest, Bellingham, Washington. If you're in Western Canada, if you're in Western Washington, come up. Gonna have some of the best dollar boxes I've ever had. Like, honestly. So yeah, this weekend I got a collection video. Next week. Hi, friends that are into comics. Friends that like indie comics. Friends that are artists. Okay. Next Monday on the podcast is Jim Woodring, like an hour and a half interview with Jim Woodring. And if you don't know Jim Woodring, let's talk about him. Boop. I booped you. Okay. Jim Woodring created the character Frank. It's been published by Fantagraphics for 30 years. But his first job in the arts was working at Ruby Spears. Gil Kane got him a job. He worked with Jack Kirby. We talked about Gil Kane and Jack Kirby for like 20 minutes. Great story shared. So I really hope everybody comes through and listens to that, because if you don't know who Jim Woodring is, you're going to get to know him. So friendly. Such a great conversation. That's coming on Monday. Jimmy Stewart. Rewatch HBO Spawn animated series. I totally wish. Chris, I'm 100% there with you. 100% there with you. Yes. Woodring. James, you know how I ended up getting that? I was at Fantagraphics. This is like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I was in the back room and I was talking to and Larry comes over. He's like, "You're a Jim Woodring fan." And I was like, "Yeah, I buy his stuff all the time. When you tell me you got something weird that you found, I usually buy it." And he introduced me because Woodring was in the store. And I'll see Jim because I am going to go to Short Run, the comics festival, which I believe is not next weekend, the weekend. Yeah, the first and 2nd. I only have one card that I want. It's a large format card of Poseidra, the Atlantean Dragon. It was a special deck set. My dad said no to me getting it when it came out. I love it. Well, you have to. Yeah. Then when your parents say no, you have to. Who Shot Liberty Valance? Fantastic movie with Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, and Lee Marvin. I know all those names, but I never saw that movie. Oh, I got the Woodring calendar. Yeah, he just did a signing for the calendar at the Fantagraphics store last weekend. It was the weekend that I interviewed him, that following weekend, which was his birthday. Mark's in the house. I'm late to the party, but Kelley Jones interview. Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Mark. I love talking to Matt and Kelley separate. Next year, we'll do it again when the 4th book gets kickstarted. Yeah, give me 1 sec. I'll show you something, Leo. Don't worry, I'll be right back. All right, here I go. Here I go. I come. So, this is a book that he released a couple years ago. Called "Sir, Is This Your Missing Gonad?" His stuff is very psychedelic. It's very beautiful. Like his lines, his line work is astounding. And he talks about it in the interview how much he loves drawing Frank. It's always dialogueless. There's no dialogue in his comics, but there are captions. And he's a painter. He's just as amazing with paint as he is with ink and a brush. Absolutely beautiful artwork and a really nice guy and a fun guy to talk to. All right, cool. My mouse just cracked out. Why does every once in a while, we talked about Purple. Every once in a while, the mouse just cracks out, just stops working. What's Bob's name? Tom, you can let me know in private. Halloween is coming. Horror movies. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1970. Any suggestions of the movies I love? 3 of them. Let's see. Modern. The Witch. Hereditary. I'll give you more than that. What the fucking stupid mouse. More recently, Bring Her Back. That movie will fuck you up. Classic. Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead, Scream, Halloween. I always watch Halloween on Halloween. I'm a sucker for it. But if you want to watch something modern that will really mess with you, watch Bring Her Back. I did a Kayfabe Courtroom speed run this week. Hey, that's funny. I was watching I watched the Marv Wolfman one, and I watched the first part of the McFarlane one this week. Oh yeah. Yeah, the shooter one's fucking crazy. The Man Who Shot Liberty Vance is on Pluto. I don't have Pluto. I the more things that I download to watch movies, the less movies I watch. Tubi, Pluto, all that. It's too much. Yeah, Frank is his main contribution to comics. I agree. Oh, Phantasm's a good movie. Haven't seen that one in a long time. Angus Scrim. Bring Her Back, Brother That Knife Scene, Stay With Me. Yeah, the knife scene and the table. Yeah. It's a really tough, like, what that movie is a look at grief and the things that grief entail. But yeah, that's a rough movie to watch, but it's good. Weapons was great. Yes, Brandon. But it's not, I don't think it's out on anything yet. You still have to rent it. I was out on a spirit quest with Brian Moss in the woods of Ohio, trying to remember Jim Woodring's name. Drew his main character very on point, but it took hours to remember his name. Well, I figure I know what a spirit quest is. Man, Jim's he's just such an amazing guy. And like he's still, what I really like about Jim is like, it feels like when you look at his work, he hasn't lost a step. And like his paintings are just so beautiful to look at. But yeah, excited to see him again at Short Run. I didn't find Hereditary that scary. I kept hearing that it was I think it wormed its way into my head. It was more creepy, but it was a really good movie. And that's the real thing. It's a really good movie. There weren't cheap scares in it. Martyrs, Dead Ringers, Prince of Darkness. I've seen Prince of Darkness and Dead Ringers, but I don't think I've ever seen Martyrs. Do you remember the first comic you read as a child or teen? I think it's Wolverine #1. That's like really the first one that sticks with me. And then Amazing Spider-Man 3, like the first part of the assassination plot, or one of those early McFarlane Amazing Spider-Mans. Yeah, I watched Talk to Me. I watched them both for the first time a week or so ago, and I really, Talk to Me was great because it was clever. It had a little bit of a sick sense of humor to it. And it was just fun and clever. I don't know who Reggie Bannister is. Uh, did you ever see The Ritual from 2017? Let me just Google it real quick and see if I recognize it. Oh yeah, that's the one in the woods with the hikers. I did, and I don't remember. I remember liking it, but I don't remember really anything about it, so it might be worth a rewatch. The Descent, that's another one that I really loved. Sinners was great, but Sinners isn't a horror movie. Like Sinners is horror, but it's more of a movie that exists kind of on its own. Donald Duck. Is that a horror movie? Well, I missed the Donald Duck. And yeah, those are great movies. All great movies. Or is Donald Duck your first comic? 315 is the Hydro Man one, right? That's a great book. That was early for me too. Oh, Reggie from the Phantasm. Yeah, I just remember Angus Scrimm's name. I only saw the Phantasm one, first one once, and that's it. I love Hellraiser. I think Hellraiser 2 is actually a better movie than Hellraiser. The creatures are better. The symbiotes are better. Cenobites are better. The plot's a little bit better, but they work. You got to watch them as a pair. Oh, yes, of course, Leo. Donald Duck was the most selling comic book in Norway back in the 90s. Well, yeah, because isn't Don Rosa like a fucking, like he's got statues in that part of the world? Like it's like Donald Duck in that part of the world is more popular than Mickey Mouse is here. Yeah, no, that's kind of crazy. That's amazing though. So yeah, I mean, I could list horror movies all day long because there's so many great horror movies out there, and that's like the first thing I fell in love with. That kind of made me want to go into film school was watching, seeing Bad Taste and Dead Alive for the first time. Yeah, well, Barks is a legend, but I thought like Rosa was even more popular over there than he was here. I recently watched The Hands of Orlac. I don't know that. Oh, for the 40s. Mark, I don't know if you know or if you watched it last year. And this is to anybody. We're talking about horror movies, but last year I did a video that I thought was a great idea that fucking tanked completely. But in my interviews with Daniel Warren Johnson, Becky Cloonan, Matt Wagner, and Kelly Jones, I asked them their top 5 horror movies, and that video is on the channel. And maybe it's a thumbnail. Maybe it's time to change the thumbnail on it, but it did not do well. But if you want to hear that, and Kelly and Matt, especially Kelly picked some of the most obscure movies. And he loves them. And for a guy like that, like I trust his recommendations. Alien, Suspiria, and The Thing are probably my top 3. It's funny because like Alien is, I think Alien's scary. I never found The Thing to be scary as much as I did. It's one of the greatest. And Suspiria, and Sam, I don't think this is blasphemy. The original, the Argento movie is a beautiful movie. The soundtrack by Goblin's amazing. That movie's not about anything. It's stylistic. It's amazing looking. The remake by Luca with Dakota Johnson is a fucking great movie. And they're both awesome in their own rights. And Tom York's soundtrack is awesome in its own right. But I really like the remake. I think I've seen it like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Did you watch Opus yet? No, I have not. And what's her name's in it? Etta Beery. I forget her name. I haven't seen it. No, it's on HBO, so I will watch it sooner than later. Oh, dude, Annihilation's fantastic. Alex Garland directing is that his second movie that he directed? Oh, dude, I love Annihilation. That and the 1-2 of that and the Ex Machina, and then when he did Devs. Man, those great stuff. Tasha's about to do a huge Carl Barks book like the Marvel reprints. Oh, that's dope. I have the Fantagraphics one, so I don't know if I need the Tasha one, but I'd like to see it. Batman Year One movie, animated movie rewatch. I don't like any of those DC adaptations. I I think they're good, but they're just something that I'm not gravitated towards. Not much of a horror movie fan, but I did like Evil Dead movies, Scream and Alley. Yeah, those are kind of like appealing to. I think those appeal across the board. Oh, dude, the remake, yeah, there's some fucked up stuff. I mean, that movie is about body dysmorphia and it's a body horror movie. But you want to hear something hilarious, Sam? I saw that movie in the theaters, and I saw it again with my ex at the time. Oh, she wasn't my ex at the time. And then we went to her friend's house one night in West Seattle, and they were doing a movie night, and it was Suspiria. And it wasn't until the third time I watched that remake that I realized that Tilda played the old man as well as the character that Tilda played. And I was like, oh my fucking God. I love Tilda Swinton. I saw Dead Snow. Is that the skiing movie and then the Nazis? And oh, that shit's hilarious. I think that's that movie. My first comic was Marvel. Nice. Quiet Place is a great movie. I like all of the Quiet Place movies. There's been 3 so far, right? The 2 sequels and the prequel. Prequel was really good. Anyway, my swoon is done. I think we're going to call it a night tonight. It's a nice 90-minute episode live. Yeah, it was. It was Nazi Zombies. Yeah, it was a great movie. A great movie to me is one I'm okay with rewatching. Some movies are good, but some... Yeah, I mean, that's what certain movies are part of your existence, and they're part of the things that you enjoy regularly. And if it's, and I rewatch a lot of movies. There are a lot of movies on my rotation. Anyway, look, I can't do a full show. I recorded a podcast today. I got to keep my voice for the weekend for the con because I'm going to be talking to a lot of people, and I do not want to get sick. Das Boot. It's a classic also. But look, this weekend's going to be a collection video. Monday, Jim Woodring is the interview. And then next week, I'll be back for a live sale, which will probably be maybe my last live sale until I get back, but we'll see. I may do an extra one anyway. Friends, thank you for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button. Also, please go watch the Kelley Jones interview and the Kelley Jones Matt Wagner interview. So look, I thank you all. Before we get going, also one more thing. The Patreon is $5 a month. The link is in the description below. I just edited the next exclusive West Coast Avengers video. We'll do a flip through video. There'll be a bonus direct edition episode with Jimmy Jams, Jim of Food. It's $5 a month and it helps me keep the lights on. Plus, I do a private sale, an exclusive to the Patreon, once a month. The next one is on November 1st. It'll be a live sale drop, a sale drop. It won't be live. And you just claim in the comments then we're good to go. Anyway, thank you all. Stay safe. Stay thirsty, stay toasty, stay resistant. I appreciate you all. Have a good night. Sorry, Hooch. No swoon for you. Guess you're just going to have to come with me to the con this weekend. Okay, bye. I'll be